What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Friday? Gonna have a good show. Maybe a little bit of nervousness for the Titans fan base if they lose to Malik Willis. What's gonna happen? Well, that's what we're gonna talk about today here as the Green Bay Packers are getting set to travel down to Nashville, and we'll see if Malik Willis gets to start for the Packers against the Titans on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. We'll talk through some of the latest updates in Rappaport with a Jordan Love update. Where I don't know what's going to happen here. Like, I feel like I'm being played, but I don't know if we're being lied to or not, but we'll talk about the latest update there. Malik Willis, Will Levis, excited to see his former teammate, Jeffrey Simmons, knows and expects the Packers to run a lot of football. And so we'll see what Denard Wilson says about where the Titans have been beat in the run through a couple games this season. And then we'll talk about other guys that have to step up outside of the obvious Will Levis death turnovers. And then good news to send us to the weekend, Sam. We've also got a bet to ride in this game from BetMGM. I've actually got two, and they deal with both the quarterbacks. So, Sam, welcome in. Hope you had fun the other night with the big debut, but ready to rock and roll here on a Friday. Let's get it going.
Yeah, let's get into it. We got to like the show here before we kick things off, Austin. We're off to a little bit of a slow start on a Friday morning with getting people in here involved. People sleepy. So let's go ahead. Hit the like button, hit the heart, whatever you're doing on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, share the show with the share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take that YouTube link, send it to a friend or a Titans fan in your life. Get that word out there. A to Z Sports is live. We're having a big, important conversation about Malik Willis against your Tennessee Titans this weekend and what the fallout of this game could end up being. So it's going to be a great show. Let's lock it in. Let's like the show. If you're happy, here, straight up, if you're happy about the fact that I did not receive a vote on Wednesday night, like the show. Just like the show, and Let's get into it here on a Friday morning.
You're just trying to go 1-0 every week, right?
1-0 every week, man.
That's the game. All right, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Survivor 47, Sam Phelan, and our Titans reporter here at A to Z Sports.com. And we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. That's at A to Z Sports. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go make them a part of your new car buying process. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans and improve your health coverage by lowering your rate. Get a quote today at fbhp.com/ATOZ. And TDOT, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee. To join the cause, visit nobodytrashestennessee.com. So, an update, Sam, from this morning. Ian Rappaport said this morning that he thinks it is a realistic possibility for Jordan Love to try to give it a go against the Titans on Sunday in Nissan Stadium. I think that's ridiculous. I think the Packers will be making a dumb mistake if they put their 200 and however many $1 million quarterback out there 15 days after spraining his MCL in Brazil and then flying him down to Nashville and playing him against the number one defense in the NFL. I think it would be the dumbest thing a team has done this NFL season, and that includes Will Levis's death turnovers the first 2 weeks.
I also think it's just a lie. Like, outside of just being dumb, I don't believe this for a second, Austin. I wish BetMGM had odds Jordan Love over under 0.5 snaps played in the game right now, because I would put a very large wager on the under. Keep in mind, Ryan Tannehill had a high ankle sprain, and I think practiced for like 2 to 3 straight weeks. Practiced, right? Limited, where he was on the field and moving around a little bit, but didn't really show the media anything during the open portion of practice. And the Titans listed him as questionable and said game time decision week after week after week. It was not Ryan Tannehill playing. So I don't buy this at all. I don't think the Packers are going to play Jordan Love. It would surprise me. And if they did, I also think it would be foolish. Part of the great thing for Green Bay about getting that win against Indianapolis with Malik Willis at quarterback was that it takes off a little bit of that pressure. It gives you the ability to make sure Jordan Love is all right. And if he comes back in week 4 and you're sitting at 1-2, you can recover from 1-2. Of course you can recover from 1-2. 0-3 is a different story. And so had Malik and Indy had Malik lost to the Colts and you were feeling like your season was kind of flashing before your eyes here, I would understand it a little bit more. But right now you have to look out for not just the remainder of this season, but like the longevity of Jordan Love as your quarterback and his health. And this is not worth it against, like you said, the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah, not worth it. I even said yesterday, Sam, and I don't know if you agree with this or not. Like, I wouldn't put him on the plane. Like, if you're talking about like a knee situation and knee swelling, I would not put Jordan Love on the plane to fly to Nashville. Like, just leave him in Green Bay. Don't even try it. Like Matt LaFleur said yesterday, we're going to give him up to 90 minutes before game time. Like, they're going to let him go.
Which is just not true, though. That's not true. Like, so that's how you know, right? You are not a coach in the NFL not knowing who your starting quarterback is 90 minutes before your game. Not true, especially when they're so different. And the offense that you're running is different depending on who's in there at quarterback. So that is Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers attempting to, be super mysterious with who might be playing quarterback. It's not going to be Jordan Love.
Yeah,
no way.
I will tell you another sign that it's not going to be Jordan Love is because if you do go to your BetMGM app, like you mentioned
earlier,
you
can't bet on Jordan Love stats.
You can bet on Malik Willis stats, but you can't bet on Jordan Love stats. So look, that's a pretty telling thing there. So, all right, Sam, let's hear from the Titans quarterback on how he feels getting to play against a guy he spent a lot of time with over the last year and a half.
Time with Malik last year, you have a possibility now to face off with him. What's that going to be like for you?
I'm pumped. I mean, I was excited for him to get the opportunity that he did in Green Bay, and then was even more excited or obviously not excited because of Jordan's situation, but it was cool for him to get the opportunity to play as soon as he did. And then for him to come into town, I know he's geared up and ready to play, but I love Leak. We just talked the other day, and just going to go out there and not focus on that part of it, really just focus on our side. But it is an exciting, cool little kind of fold in the game.
Pumped. He should be, because the Titans need a win, and I'd be a lot less pumped about facing Green Bay with Jordan Love at quarterback.
Oh, that shade. You're saying Levis is throwing shade at Malik Willis?
No, I do not think that's what he was intending to do, but I am.
You are
shade at Malik Willis. Yeah.
Yes, because the Titans have to win this game, right? Like Reynolds just says, must-win game. Yeah, Buck's whole show last night was about a must-win game. You were dead at 0-3, and you are really dead at 0-3 if Malik Willis sends you to 0-3. A guy whose career high last week in passing yards in a game was 122 yards on 14 pass attempts. Now, look, the Packers did some dismantling of the Chiefs defense a week ago, and that's something to watch, but you absolutely cannot lose to Malik Willis. So, Sam, I want to go ahead and get to our first question because I think it's just time to go ahead and jump into it because we have a fill-in-the-blank opportunity for everybody. And so this is a little bit of a risk on our part because it's a wild card. So, let's just be on good behavior. We can set it at a PG-13 level right here. Like, I'll let you get a little bit interesting with it, but definitely a PG-13 level here. Fill in the blank. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, that's it, right? What?
Blank.
If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, blank. So we want all of your creativity at a PG-13 max level. But before we hear all those and read all those, I'll tell you guys about this. Do you want to take a boat to a football game? Yes, you absolutely do. Because why wouldn't you want to ride a boat to a football game and then have that boat pick you up and take you back to your car after the football game? That's the Nashville Water Taxi's goal. The game day water taxi presented by the Pontoon Saloon. They had a hell of a first week for the first home game, and they're doing it for every home game throughout this season. If you need to get to Nissan Stadium, and if you did it last week by trying to park wherever you are because maybe your lot's gone because it's under construction for the new stadium. So maybe you had to park a mile away in downtown and walk and get out of there with traffic being a nightmare. I heard it was hellacious. But you know what's awesome is parking at a marina on Lock 1 Road. It's really Lock Road. It's really easy to get to. And then all of a sudden you take a boat 10 minutes down the river that drops you off right at the base of Nissan Stadium by the pedestrian bridge. You go in there, you enjoy the game, you come back out, the boat takes you right back to your car, and you're out of that crazy traffic blast zone. So then you get to go home. And you can also BYOB this boat ride too. That's a good little perk. If you want to tailgate, you can do it on their property right there. The Game Day Water Taxi presented by the Nashville Water Taxi. So how you sign up is the NashvilleWaterTaxi.com. The NashvilleWaterTaxi.com. It's so easy. Once again, the NashvilleWaterTaxi.com. So Sam, I'll send you to the chat. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, blank.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and I'll be happy for him. Let's start on a positive note with Brandon saying you will be happy for Malik Willis. Jake, okay, not reading that one. We got panic.
PG.
If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, panic. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, somebody needs to be fired. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, tank. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, the people will riot. The season is over. Someone needs to be fired. We hit the panic button. You pack your stuff and go home. I see in the chat somewhere. They're 0-3. It's mock draft time. You bench Levis. They're cooked goods. You bench Levis for Rudolph. They suck as much as the Colts, says Jeff. Let's see. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, Mason Rudolph takes over as QB1. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, then the defense sucks. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, the season's over. The pitchfork mob will cry. I won't be shocked, says Matthew. That's where we're at. Matthew won't be shocked. You keep fighting. A more positive spin from Jody. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, Levis will have made another boneheaded play. That's an interesting take on it, is how do we get there? Randy trying to look through his crystal ball and saying, if we've gotten to the point that we've lost to Malik Willis, what happened along the way?
Adrian kind of says the same thing. If they lose, it won't be because of Malik. What is that same sentiment?
Which is fair.
Yeah.
I think it's fair, at least. If we start 0-3, just call it a season and try again next year. I see fire sale. I see Rudolph is your new starter. Austin, thoughts on this? If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, is Mason Rudolph going to be the starting quarterback in week 4?
No.
I don't think so either, but I think we can.
No, I find this. I think I was at Wednesday night at your season debut premiere party for Survivor 47. I was talking to somebody. I forget. I talked to a lot of people Wednesday night, but somebody, we were talking about this, right? Like it might have been JT of if he does it again, if he does the one thing, the one boneheaded thing for a third week in a row, that's where it gets interesting, because do you put Will Levis out there to potentially do it for a fourth game in a row? Because that's like where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I think
Will Levis, right?
I think, there's a lot of lines that are going to have to be drawn. Like, for example, I think Colt Anderson is fired this time next week if a punt is blocked on Sunday.
You do.
I do. I think if your special teams coordinator that you hired that had never been a special teams coordinator before comes in, gives up big returns and a blocked punt in Chicago, gets another blocked punt in week 2, and then has another blocked punt in week 3, I think you make a change. And I don't think Brian Callahan's afraid to make a change. Like it is this kind of stuff, this unforced stuff that sets Brian Callahan off, because he knows how close they are to being 2-0 had you avoided some of those dumb mistakes. So and
I think that would be unfortunate, because I think a lot of people think Colt Anderson is going to be a really good special teams coordinator.
But what people think and what people are different things. And as Colt Anderson said himself in his press conference earlier this week, it's a performance-driven league, and his performance up to this point has been poor. If his performance continues to be poor, I think you have to draw a line. Austin, without dumb Will Levis turnovers and blocked punts, this team is 2-0. Like, they definitely beat Chicago if you take away any of the Bears touchdowns in that game. which they had one on a blocked punt and one on a dumb Will Levis turnover.
Yeah.
If you go to the Jets game, right, the Jets got 3 points off of a blocked punt that directly led to a field goal. They got the Titans took 3 points off the board the other way with Will Levis's dumb turnover. And then they were in field goal position at the end of the game where they could have kicked the game-winning kick. So, like, it is literally, if you want to break it down, like they have done enough to win in every aspect of the game outside of their quarterback making dumb turnovers and their special teams coordinator and the special teams just being a mess. So I think there could be something to that. I have been on the record of saying Will Levis is going to get the full year. I still think he gets the full year. I still think Will Levis is going to be just fine.
But I also
it
think
really does become a conversation if it happens again.
And look, like neither of us are parents, right? So you have to be like, okay, if your kid wrecks a car a third time, you're not going to get them a fourth car.
You might take away the license too.
Yeah, I know. But like Will Levis has wrecked 2 vehicles like already. Like here are the keys to the franchise, number 8. And he's driven it into the mailbox of the neighbor's house twice. And you're like, God, what the hell? And so now, like, what do? Like, now there are no keys, but now you have to operate. Now, by taking the keys away from your kid, now it's more on you because you have to drive him to practice and pick him up from practice instead of him doing it himself. And you don't trust him as much.
Yeah.
So, but you have to find out if he's going to be able to survive on his own in college. And now Michael Wagner just says, you just find the new kid. And like, maybe, and I don't know if you don't disown the kid, but the Titans could absolutely disown Will Levis if this continues.
Yeah, I hope obviously that this does not happen and that, he will manages the game well and doesn't have a big mistake. I would predict that is the case. But if we have another one, wow, the conversation is going to be loud. Let's see. We've got top 5 draft pick on the way, an extinction level event. Karen says,
if you lose to Malik Willis, blank. Yeah. We're going back to
if we lose to Malik Willis, Karen would say we certainly suck. We suck again from the bench warmers. Let's see. We've got hell had frozen over, which is pretty much true. I would have not thought 2 months ago that we'd be talking about Malik Willis beating the Titans as a starting quarterback for another team.
Mm-hmm.
American Tough says, start trading all of our players for draft picks. Christopher just says, Levis is a bust if the Titans lose to Malik Willis. A lot of different ways. Austin, how do you fill this sentence out? If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, blank.
My sentence was going to be very similar to Chris Jump's. He said hell freezes over. No, mine is all hell breaks loose. Like that is what happens here because it brings up so many things.
Also, I apologize. I got the I got the quote wrong. That was not from.
Yeah, that was absolutely from Waterboy.
Yeah.
Not benchwarmers.
Yep. My bad.
That I was going to let it slide.
Yes, I saw Rob, whatever his face is in my brain. And
Rob Schneider. Yes. Yeah. So who Zach and I interviewed back in the day in studios.
Really?
Yeah. I have a picture from Rob Schneider from like 2014. All hell breaks loose because we're all doubting Will Levis. We're all doubting everything about this organization. And then there's going to be a portion of the fan base who's like, you traded away Malik Willis for a day 3 draft pick. For what? For this guy to come back into your house and beat you? I just think regardless if that's valid of an argument or not, people are going to take a megaphone and yell it from the pedestrian bridge at everybody who walks by. Like Malik Willis just beat you. You traded him. You didn't think he was good enough and he just kicked your ass. Like everything will go bad. It'll all hell breaks loose. It's a complete disaster and they're going to have to do a lot of different things to try to pick up the pieces. Because I think this Titans fan base has been through a lot of trauma and a lot of bad quarterback play and a lot of bad leadership. I don't know if anything would break the franchise like losing to Malik Willis to go to 0-3 and Will Levis be 0-3 when you thought he had a chance to be the guy. And so Hello Lady says, it's not valid. That's dumb talk. Oh, I agree. That would be dumb talk to have the pro Malik Willis people just talk that out.
But
out
they do
loud.
exist.
But they do exist, and they're going to be super loud. So be ready for it if it happens. But I think the fan base is in a very, very rocky spot. If this game does not be won by the Tennessee Titans, like, it is huge. It is a massive, like, big picture game, in my opinion. This is not just 0-3. This is a big picture fan base game.
Yeah. So the way that I fill it in, I think the noise gets too loud. If you lose to Malik Willis, the noise gets too loud. We had this new era of Titans football hyped up, like the culture that they were building within the organization, the idea of like a new head coach, a new refreshing offensive minded head coach, and Brian Callahan, who I would not be out on if they lost this game by any means. I still think there's a chance Brian Callahan is a very good coach, but we were sold on sort of this vision for what Rand and Callie were building with this team. Titans fans got very excited about it. They sold a bunch of PSLs for the new stadium. Like, optimism this offseason was at a high like I had not seen since starting to cover this team. If you then lose 2 games that you had control of because the quarterback makes some silly mistakes, and then lose to Malik Willis, the noise is going to get too loud. The noise is going to basically ruin any of the optimism and good vibes that you had about this new era. I think players are going to start to get pissed off. I think the fan base is going to start to check out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think a lot, and MB is right in theory, right? It's only 3 games, but it's the optics of 3 games going 0-3 with as much as you did in the offseason. Because if you go 0-3 and you lose to Malik Willis, you're not making the playoffs. No chance. You're not making the playoffs. And so, I'll remind all of you on this show, Austin, we had conversations before the season about what does a successful year for Will Levis look like? What does a successful year for the Titans look like? I had people firing off 10, 11 wins.
Yeah.
Like, I want the Titans to go 11-6. I want Will Levis to throw for 3,528 touchdowns. Like, expectations were high. The bar was high. And if you're sitting here at a team going 0-3, losing to Malik Willis, and you're going to say, no, it's fine, guys, everybody relax, I think you're lying to yourself a little bit about where your expectations were versus where they are. You are left with a very sobering reality if you lose this game. And so I don't think we're going to get there. I expect the Titans to win this football game. But if they don't, things could get bad.
Very bad.
Like, look, Austin, like, let's look real quick.
Yeah.
At this. You lost to the Bears. You lost to the Jets. If you lose to Green Bay, I mean, I don't think you necessarily beat Miami. Buffalo looks very good. The Lions are one of the better teams in the league. The Texans are one of the better teams in the league. You've got to play them twice. I think the Vikings have been impressive.
The Vikings, like, right? Like, everybody was like, oh, you're going to beat the Vikings at home in week 11? Absolutely.
I mean, you can beat Washington. The Chargers have been better than people have expected. But even if I give you Washington and the Chargers and you split with the Jags and the Colts, like,
the Patriots look bad.
Yeah, there's a world that we're right where there's only 5 wins here, though.
Yeah, I mean, Colts, Patriots, Washington, Jags, Colts. Like, that's kind of like your winnable game. Not, there's a lot of game to be left, but 0-3 is bad. 0-3 is bad.
0-3 is bad, especially because 0-4 becomes a real possibility.
And it's if they get to 0-3, it's the wasting of the opportunities, because you had the Bears beat and you let them off the hook, right? Denny Green, you had the Jets right where you wanted them, and you let them off the hook again. And by the way, the Jets had as many yards in the first half last night against the Patriots as they had the entire game against the Titans. So the Titans defense is still legit.
Absolutely.
It is the number 1 defense in the NFL. And so they have to be able to win this game against Malik Willis and the Packers.
Yeah, I don't want to make everybody feel all doomsday and all upset this morning. I think the Titans are going to win this game. I think there's still a real possibility the Titans are 2-2 with the bye week and things have started to look better. I think Will Levis is going to improve. And I do think I'm remaining steadfast. And remember this show. Remember this show for real. Okay. Because everybody in your Nashville media right now is out on number 8. Not me.
Everybody in the Nashville media. Everybody in the Nashville media.
A lot of people behind the scenes believe Will Levis is not the guy.
At the press conference.
And are out.
That are covering
they
the
are
team.
Out. I am not out.
We got a text from our research department, Easton Freeze, saying, "Whoa there, buddy."
I'm not out. I think people are jumping out too quickly on Will Levis. I want to just say, remember this show, because I don't want anybody saying, Sam, remember you were so down on Will Levis. No, I'm telling you right now, I think Will Levis is going to be the starter of this team for the rest of this year and the starter of this team next year. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong in a big way. But I think it'll all be okay. So I don't want to get people into this doomsday mode of where they're at. But like realistically, what are we saying, guys? If it's 0-4, like what are we saying if it's 0-4?
If it's 0-4,
I think you've got a better chance of beating Malik and the Packers than you do of Miami the week after.
This was going to be my, if the Titans lose, the most optimistic Titans fan in the world gets to point and say, losing to the Malik, this is again the most optimistic take you can possibly find. If the Titans lose to Malik Willis, is going, well, you know, Nick Saban in Alabama lost to Louisiana Monroe his first year. Like that is the most optimistic thing you can say.
But I will say, like, I am surprised by some of the chat today, because some of the chat has been where I thought they would be, which is like, hey, doomsday, you lose to Malik. Uh-oh. And some people like, no, it's only 3 games. Are you kidding me? I'm like, brother, you're 0-3, like against Malik Willis and Caleb Williams, who's looked horrible. And you're 0-3 with like on games that you had controlled and could have won. Like, I feel like that is bad. So, I'm very, very worried about how loud the noise is going to get with another loss, or potentially the exact opposite, Austin, which is the radio silence, which is the apathy setting in very early on. Who really cares? Who really cares? You're 0-3. We're not bought in anymore. That's the worst thing possible for you and I, the worst thing possible for the Titans organization, and just probably a really bad feeling for Titans fans who are going to drown themselves in Vols Orange and go celebrate college football for the season and check out of the NFL entirely.
And just start watching college quarterbacks, right? Like then we're talking Carson Beck, Shedeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, and I hope not Connor Wegman, but like that, it's like that's the type of conversation it gets to. Now, for the record, Easton has been tarred and feathered, his words, on back-to-back post-game shows for being too light on Will Levis in these games. And so I do think you and Easton, Sam, are probably the two of the ones that are more in still, the most in maybe to the most in the media.
I thought Will Levis looked really good against the Jets, minus his bad turnover. Like minus the one play, because like I know it's like an if situation, right? And you can't remove extreme plays that happen.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans defense did a great job against the run, except for 2 plays they give up 50 yards. Right?
Well, it's exactly what the Titans said last year, is they were getting gashed on like explosive 80-yard runs every game. And you had Terrell Williams talking to the media being like, well, without the explosive runs, we're actually a very good run defense. And I'm like, Terrell, the point is you give up the explosive every game.
Yeah, if you take out the touchdowns we gave up, our scoring defense is great.
Yeah, exactly. It's if you take out the bad plays, we're actually not bad. Correct. The problem is there's too many bad plays. And you can make that argument with Levis too. But if you remove what is an unforced, seemingly fluky play with the fumble, I think Treylon Burks should have caught the pass that was intercepted. And what's the story around Will Levis if those two plays go the other way? And he doesn't have the fumble. He doesn't throw a pick. He throws for well over 200 yards. He manages the game well, puts up over 20 points, gives them a chance to win.
The Titans are 1-1, and
the Titans are
talking about
1-1,
going 2-1, right?
Right.
Like
But they still might not win.
with,
Even without the fumble, they might not win the game because of the blocked punt. But I think we're talking about, hey,
again,
this special teams needs to figure it out, and not Will Levis is a problem.
I think all of this is snowball. Like, I think everything about these games have been snowball effects. In Green Bay, the fumble creates the interception. The block punt happens and then now the defense gives up a Braylon Allen 20-yard touchdown run where he doesn't get touched to go down by 7 instead of forcing them to kick a field goal.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, because chat's coming back at me a little bit. It's a big if, and saying you can't rationalize it like that. I agree with you, right? Like I'm not going to change reality in my argument for Will Levis. I'm not going to change what happened, because what happened. And you are what you play like in this league. And so if Will Levis plays recklessly and turns the ball over, he's a reckless quarterback that turns the ball over. But I also don't believe that we can look at extremes and draw big picture conclusions from extremes or from such a small sample size of a few plays. Yeah. And what I'm really trying to do is emphasize the point that if you look at 95% of the snaps the Titans played against the New York Jets, Will Levis played like he was the guy. And so that gives me more reason to believe that he can play more like that moving forward than if this was a quarterback that just looked lost out there. Right. It's the argument that I made all last week and earlier this week about like Will Levis versus Bryce Young. And the Panthers are benching Bryce Young. Nobody has watched the Panthers game and been like, Bryce Young is looking really good except for that one play. He looks lost for 80% of their snaps. And I don't get that same feeling when I watch Will Levis. And so in sports, there's this fine line, but which is predicted future outcome and present actual value and outcome. Predictive statistics, predictive measures, and we use analytics to break down. All right, hey, this player maybe didn't have a great game, but analytics say they're going to have better games in the future because he only caught 2 passes, but he separated really well. And so now we can predict that he's doing his job and the games are going to come and the production is going to come. I look at Will Levis's game against the Jets, which Brian Callahan and Bo Hardigree and everybody feels is very improved, and say, I think it's more indicative of predictive future success, even if it doesn't reflect Will Levis played great on Sunday against the Jets.
All right. We got some comments to get to, a lot of comments to get to from you guys. Real quick, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn for all of your injury needs. If you get hurt in life, that stuff happens, right? You got to make sure you know who to go to and know who to trust to get you back off the sidelines, doing the things you want to do. If you want to exercise the way you want to exercise and that old back or shoulder injury is giving you problems, it's creeping back up as you get older, go get it checked out. There's a lot of different ways that the Bone and Joint Institute can help improve that old injury to get you doing the things you want to do. And no matter how old you are, what stage of life you're in, the Bone and Joint Institute has all of the resources and the experts at one location off of I-65 and Highway 96, right next to Williamson Medical Center in Franklin, Tennessee. They also have clinics and rehab facilities, really good physical therapy facilities across the county in Williamson County. I went to the one in Brentwood for 7 times. They prescribed me for 12 physical therapy sessions for my knee tendonitis. Only needed 7. So save money because they help me get better in almost half the time. So they can help you out as well. Book an appointment, boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. So if you've got a pick or a play for Titans Packers this weekend, go ahead and do it on BetMGM. We're going to give you some plays later on in the show. I've got one that I've got my eye on that I think is a lock.
2.
So ready to go. BetMGM.com, bonus code ATOZ Sports with the sportsbook born in Vegas.
All right. First off, King VC says lock in and like the show. So yes, please.
Yeah, we got to get to super chats here.
Facebook is struggling today. Facebook, step it up. You guys like the show for us. Thank you. Nasser says, I mean, Malik knows the entire offense and the entire defense. Shouldn't that give the Titans some type of worry? I think is what he meant. Like, I mean, what do you think about that, Sam? Like, I mean, he knows the Titans offense, but it's not like he's known it for 3 years or 2.5 years. It's changed each year that Malik has been with the team. So, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's in this specific situation, it's not as.
I think it's okay to bring this up. I think, there is something slight to the fact that, like, he is familiar with the offensive system. He is familiar with the defense, but
But he's just as familiar with it as Matt LaFleur is,
No, I don't think so.
I mean,
why is Matt LaFleur more familiar with this?
Because
offense?
It's like Brian Callahan.
I mean, so here's the deal. At the end of the day, Malik doesn't know anything about this defense that Matt LaFleur can't see on tape and that coaches around the league can't see on tape. What Malik might know about the offense is like what their checks and cans are and like what their different like things at the line of scrimmage are, verbiage at the line of scrimmage. And that's something that the Titans could always change. So
you're saying Malik is going to be the Connor Stallions. And I don't know if I watched that documentary.
It was awesome.
I came away liking Connor Stallions. Sorry. But is Malik a point up pass? Like that's, if you're watching that, like then Connor Stallions is over there wearing number 2.
And I loved that Connor Stallions documentary because truly, is there a college football program in the country that does not have a Connor Stallions? I don't think so. I think everybody is doing it.
I think Connor Stallions is elite.
I'm saying, is there exactly every college football program has somebody in Connor Stallions role that doesn't do it nearly as well as Connor Stallions, and so
he's a psycho.
He is a psycho, and I love it because
that's what. Yeah, you don't have that.
I have to have a level of respect for a guy who grew up just wanting to be like, I'm going to help Michigan football win a championship someday, and then gave up basically his entire life to do it. It's like, I'm going down with the ship, and I do love the way that it has pivoted for him. Because originally when that news broke, Austin, Connor Stallions was an enemy in the Michigan community. He was the reason there was all this noise around this championship is not legit. You're taken away from the team. And
side. Do I think he cheated? Yes. Like I do think that there was a scheme beyond just what, like I do think he got too far because I do think he got a little too.
They did overlook in the documentary the ticket thing. Like they had his buddy be like, hey, I went to an Alabama game with Connor. We went to a lot of college football games. And then they very briefly had the narrator mention there were 124 tickets to 68 different college football games in Connor Stallion's name right at the 50-yard line. And it was just like, okay, that is not a normal.
Yeah, Michigan absolutely floated the bill for Connor Stallions to facilitate all these tickets. Anyway, moving forward. Amnesia says, I bet the Colts fans felt the same way about losing to Malik last week. Don't underestimate how good that team is, not to mention the coaching staff. Green Bay always gets the best out of their quarterback. I think it's a really good comment from Amnesia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay is a good football team. I said on Titans that too yesterday, Austin. There is a real possibility that the Titans lose to Malik Willis. And I agree with the comment from earlier in the show, not because of Malik Willis, but Matt LaFleur is a magician. And what he's worked with Malik last week, what he will probably continue to work with Malik and keeping him efficient and effective, finding a way to move the ball when everybody knows you're running the ball was really, really impressive. That's a very good defense in Green Bay. It is a good football team. And I bet you the Colts fans did feel the same way, but the Colts fans don't have the optics of Malik Willis being a former player. And the Colts fans don't have I don't think the Colts have the same level of enthusiasm coming into 2024 that the Titans did. The Titans had a new head coach. They had all of these new pieces and additions in free agency that were supposed to propel them to another level as a team. The Colts, I think, probably got worse over the offseason and kind of knew it. Colts fans were like a little bit upset with their negligence as far as adding to the roster is concerned. So while they're upset, it is more about the disappointment Titans fans would feel and a little bit of the shock that they would feel We came into the season saying 11 wins. Will Levis has a big year. We go to the playoffs. We're staring down 0-3 and a loss to Malik Willis. That's a big disconnect. Something went horribly wrong.
Yeah, no doubt. King VC says, if Will Levis has another bullheaded play, I don't think you bench him for the sake of winning, but I think you, for the sake of saying you aren't unpunishable. I think that's the crazy part about this situation, because if the Titans are 0-3, it doesn't mean that Will Levis still can't be the guy in 2025 or 2026. But if he does the same damn thing again, like if he wrecks the third car in third week in a row, then what do? You have to do something drastic.
Yeah, that's why it becomes a conversation to me, because I think Will Levis could again have a good game and still have another play like that you're scratching your head about, and you're like, he looks so good outside of the one boneheaded play and yada yada. But he's talking about rewiring his brain, and Callahan is clearly frustrated. I mean, Callahan after the game on Sunday was like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm frustrated, like helpless almost, he felt like. And so use the same analogy you're using. Like, as a parent, you can like teach your kid the right way to hey, use your blinker. Hey, buckle your seatbelt. Hey, stop going 15 miles over the speed limit and looking at your phone while you're driving. Those are things that are going to have you wreck the car, and you can hammer it home, and they can say, I know. But if 3 times in a row it doesn't get through, you have to find another way to get the message through, which is why it sort of becomes a conversation at that point. Like, it has to go to a different level other than, yeah, that's inexcusable. And that's why I go to like Colt Anderson earlier and used him as an example, because he stepped up to the podium 2 games in a row now and said, inexcusable. It's on me. It starts with me. We've got to get our guys ready. And like, you know, if you do it 3 times in a row, I don't believe you anymore. Like, try something different.
Yep, you have to. Connor, last super chat for the time being. A loss on Sunday. I'll be opening the glass case and taking a long, hard look at that panic button. I'm not worried about the defense. I'm worried about the Packers defense scoring more than the Packers offense. That's interesting.
Yeah,
there too.
Well, this is funny because the panic button is tucked somewhere away in the closet, and you've thought about the panic button over the last 2 weeks. Like, the thought has been like, yeah, remember that? Remember that old panic button? I'm not going to do it, though. And, yeah, they lose this game. You start taking it out of the closet. You sit it down, and you just start to look at it a little bit more and go, do I want to do it? Do I want to smash the panic button and go off the deep end? And I'm not going to tell you whether or not that's right or wrong, because, you know, if they lose to the Packers, things are pretty bad. It might be time to panic a little bit.
All right, let's ask this question, Sam, outside of Will Levis, because we have talked a lot about Will Levis, right? But and like, he is uber important for the Titans to win this game for just doing less. Don't do the thing that will kill the whole team. But outside of Will Levis, which Titans player is most vital to success for a win this weekend against the Packers? Outside of Will Levis, who is most vital? Which other Titans player most vital for the team's success in this game? But first, Farm Bureau Health Plans, I'll help you out with a successful health coverage plan. If you're maybe sitting there thinking like, how much do we pay for health coverage every month? Probably too much. And you can actually get better coverage and lowering that rate by visiting Farm Bureau Health Plans website using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. They've served Tennesseans for over 78 years and have continuously put back into the community. They go back to helping Tennesseans get the best options for whatever their situation is. Don't pay out of pocket to go to the dentist twice a year. That's something you need to take care of. You get one set of permanent teeth, and you need those things because other health issues start there. For your vision coverage, if you need it, don't pay out of pocket for contacts. Make sure if you don't need vision, then don't have to pay for it as well. So Farm Bureau Health Plans, not cookie cutter. It's up to your situation, and they can help you out by visiting their link, our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is the sportsbook born in Vegas, and if you use the bonus code ATOZ Sports, you can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets, even if your first bet misses. So make your play, make your pick. Austin and I will have a couple of picks coming up here at the end of the show for Titans Packers, but make your pick on BetMGM. Use that bonus code ATOZ Sports for up to $1,500 back.
All right, so Sam, we asked the question, outside of Levis, which Titans player is most vital for the team's success against Green Bay? I'll send you the chat first on Facebook and YouTube. Also, hit the like button, like the show. That always goes a long way for us, so please do that for us. Thank you. So which Titans player? So Scott starts us off there.
Yep. Calvin Ridley from Scott. I've seen DeAndre Hopkins, NPF again, offensive line from American Tough. Some DeAndre Hopkins from Valentine, from Linwood, Tajay Spears from John Foster, Nick Westbrook Akine says Rooney. Let's see. We got Ridley, period, from Edward. Ryan Stonehouse from Alex Bien, which disagree. Ryan Stonehouse is most important. That means you're punting a lot, which means bad news bears. I would say hopefully
blocks or no blocks.
But I don't think blocked punts around Ryan Stonehouse. you maybe say Julius Chestnut needs to, block his guy once. Tony Pollard says Hoshi, DeAndre Hopkins from DeMarco. I see Nicholas Petit-Frere from Connor, whoever sucks on special teams. So he's going with Julius Chestnut there. The entire
it was Chestnut week
Jack
2.
Gibbons 1 week.
Yeah.
The entire offensive line, wide receivers need to get separation. Tyler Boyd, Tony Pollard, another Ryan Stonehouse, Nicholas Petit-Frere, Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard. So some of the same. Oh, we got some defense here. Big Jeff and Ernest Jones coming in. Another Ernest Jones from Alex.
Yeah.
Austin, who's on your radar? Who's the most important, most vital outside of Will Levis?
I think the offensive line approach is a really good one because of Rashawn Gary's a dude. Like, that guy's a freak. And they will line him up in a lot of different ways, and he can beat you inside, outside, whatever. So I think the NPF/Dylan Radins picks are solid, but I do want to go defensive because I think this game is more about the Titans defense continuing to do a good job of getting off the field early in the game and not having a lot of third downs be converted. And I'm going to go with, I think Harold Landry is a big one here. Look, and I'm not like, I think a lot of people are answering this question with guys who have not performed well that need to perform better. Yeah. I'm going to go with Harold Landry, who has performed very well, that I think is very important in this game because it's Harold Landry setting the tone for his other edge defenders. And we're going to get to a video here in a second of Denard Wilson, but I think Harold Landry being responsible and being accountable and being the leader of the edge group, whether he's rushing the passer and run defense and making sure that they set the standard of setting the edge. Because if Harold Landry can have a good game and provide some extra juice to this defense, then I think that they have a chance to shut down Malik Willis and Josh Jacobs. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Denard.
And Ocho says they need turnovers on defense. That has been a point of emphasis. They don't have a defensive turnover yet. You're going against Malik Willis, who you should probably be able to get the ball off of at least once or intercept him, once if your defense plays appropriately. And edge can apply there too. If Harold Landry can strip the ball when he gets a sack, that would be critical.
Yeah, and so here's Denard Wilson talking about the Packers runs and that setting the edge.
Last week they came out and they ran the ball 50 times. So, we'll be ready for both, okay, in terms of our game plan. And whoever comes out there, we'll go out there and we'll compete to the best of our ability.
The runs that have hurt you have been outside, and Josh Jacobs has had a lot of success outside. How do you shore things up out there?
Well, there's been a huge emphasis on us, for us this week is setting the edge. Being violent, setting the edge. And, we like to talk about setting the edge in between the midpoint. So in between the numbers and the hash, make the team run into a phone booth. And the guys, they understand that that's our thought process this week. And those are the plays that's been hurting us. And we got to go out there and put it into it.
So look, and that is where they've gotten beat. And I'll just throw the video up that we showed yesterday of the 4 explosive plays. This DJ Moore run was honestly just really talented, but Jack Gibbons bought so bad on that fake. But Landry was there, did a good job setting the edge until DJ Moore made a really good play there. Another toss to the outside, this one to Swift, and Jalen Harold just gets pushed out by Cole Kmet, your guy right there, Sam.
Yep.
And then on the other
28 gets hurdled there as well, which
Quandre Diggs not a tall person. I made that joke yesterday too, so he's the easier to hurdle. But there it's setting the edge, but it's also like I've seen the safeties, especially on this one, Amani Hooker being right there and have his feet get stuck in the mud and just not be able to do anything. But the inside linebackers have gotten caught. They haven't been able to flow to get to the edge on those 4 plays. There have been other really good plays where the Titans defense has done a good job setting the edge and getting some tackles for loss or for short gains or no gains. So, but on those 4 plays, it's how do you set the edge and how do you keep the flow contained and stretch it out so the linebackers and safeties can get to that spot. It's a whole team effort when it comes to stopping the run outside.
Yep. I think it is a team effort. I think you could pick Harold, Landry. I think you could pick any of the inside linebackers as critical to this. The Titans have to stop the run to beat Malik Willis and Green Bay. Malik Willis is not somebody that worries me, but the fact that the Packers were able to run the ball for over 200 yards as an offense when everybody in the world knew they were running the ball against the Colts, it shows that this is a very talented team with receivers that can block downfield, with an offensive coordinator that's creative in his schemes, with a talented running back in Josh Jacobs and a good offensive line up front. So the Titans have to stop the run. This game has the potential of getting muddy, of being a game that the Packers control time of possession, and just kind of not being a game that Tennessee has its grasp on, if they cannot stop the run. So I think that is a key. Austin, my answer will flip it to the other side. My person will be, I love the offensive line approach. Like you said, Will Levis has to be pressured less, but I'll say Tony Pollard, because I think what we've seen from the Titans offense in 2 games is that when they are going well, it's because they are running the ball well. And when they have failed to run the football and run the ball for negative plays and gotten behind the sticks, and that is when the offense has been completely shut down. Tony Pollard's first quarter in Chicago was incredible. He had over 50 yards and a touchdown, and it looked like he was on his way to just being the perfect running back in this Titans offense. And I don't think it's all on Tony Pollard. I don't even think any of it really is on Tony Pollard. I think the Titans offensive line has not done a very good job of blocking in the run game. But I think if Tony Pollard has a big day and is able to run the ball effectively, it will open things up substantially for Will Levis and for this offense to succeed.
I think here's the good thing. Like, if you go to the box score, you're like, man, the Colts were able to move the ball. Like, the Colts ran for 140 yards on 18 carries.
They contained Anthony Richardson, though, which was on the ground.
Well, he had 4 carries for 37 yards with a long of 21.
Yes, and it was a 20-yard run in the 4th quarter of that game, right at the end of that game.
Right, which they were going to try to – they lost. It was a 6-point game. Like, the Colts –
Well, right, but I'm saying for 3.5 quarters, Anthony Richardson had 4 rushing yards, and this is Anthony Richardson we're talking about.
Sure, but Jonathan Taylor had 12 carries for 103 yards. That's a large 8.6 per carry. Now, I know the game flow is different. Here's the problem. Here's why the Colts could not beat the Packers. They couldn't stop the run. Obviously, we know that because the Packers ran for 260 plus yards. The other thing is that they had 3 interceptions, one into the game, and they had a missed field goal.
Yep.
And they turned the ball over on downs. So there are 4 possessions, a missed field goal and 3 picks before the turnover on downs, where they were honestly able to move the ball until they just got stuck and shot themselves in the foot. And so I think that's where the Packers defense is solid, but it's gettable. Like, you can gain yards, and Tony Pollard can be very effective against this Packers defense. And I think Will Levis can be effective against the Packers defense too, throwing the football as well. And it's just like, you cannot have and I don't know what the interceptions look like. So I don't know if they were really good defensive plays or dumb plays by Anthony Richardson or anywhere in between. But the Packers defense can be can't give up yards. So like go sustain drives and finish them.
Yep. Yeah, you got to run the ball though. Got to be able to run the ball.
Without a doubt. Last super chat, Amnesia says Malik has no pressure to win while Levis is under huge pressure. Difference between the two is Green Bay fans are rallying behind Malik while Titans fans are wanting to hang Levis. I don't know if they're wanting to hang Levis, but I think they're getting close to being ready. Like
I do think the vibe around the fan bases is different, but I don't think that matters.
No.
I don't think like Green Bay's fans backing Malik Willis is like the difference in his success versus Will Levis's lack of success thus far this season. I think, Malik is playing with a little bit of house money. He's out there to play football and prove himself in a way that Will Levis is also looking to prove himself, but kind of with a different connotation and tone to it, where he's got higher expectations. And so with expectations comes disappointment when you don't play well. If Malik plays well, Packers fans shrug it off and say, yeah, Malik Willis sucks. Like we need Jordan Love back. So it is different.
Yeah.
But I don't think the tone of the fan base impacts anything regarding the two quarterbacks and how they play.
Well, Matthew has an interesting question. Who's in the better position to win Sunday, Malik or Levis?
I mean, situation around them, Malik Willis. But if talent is included in position, Will Levis. I think Will Levis, if he's on the Packers, is like an awesome quarterback right now.
Okay.
But the Packers have a really, really good football team and a really smart, proven play caller at head coach. Like it's a better situation. So, Malik has been given the better opportunity. But if you factor in their actual ability in their situation, then Will Levis, because Malik Willis has clear limitations in his game.
Fair enough. Good answer. I like that. So, all right, Sam, let's go ahead and get to our bets because I know you've got one. I definitely have two to get to. But first, T-Dot, be part of the solution to end littering across the state of Tennessee. Did you know there's over 88 million pieces of litter on Tennessee's roadways right now, and T-Dot spends over $23 million every year to help clean it up? That is a bad problem. And again, you're trying to solve it. You're trying to solve it, but you can't quite slow it down. So everybody can step up to help end littering in Tennessee and making some changes to your life by picking up litter, stop litter in the first place, and then join local cleanups like A to Z Sports is going to be doing throughout this fall with our new partners at T-Dot. Nobody trashes Tennessee, especially on game days this football season. So make sure if you're at a game, if you're going to a game, whether it's high school, college, or pro, you're keeping your eye out for the trash cans. When you're tailgating, you're not just leaving everything behind. You're being a good partner and a good Tennessean. So to find out how to be a part of it more, go to nobodytrashestennessee.com.
Before we get here, did I misspeak? I did not say Will Levis has limitations. I said Malik Willis has limitations.
Yeah, but it's very easy to say the other name when you're talking.
Malik Willis has
Willis and
limitations
Levis have
to
been
his
like,
game.
yeah.
Will Levis does not. Will Levis is a better, more talented quarterback. It's not particularly close. I'm speaking about the situations that they are in. I believe Malik is surrounded by a better team and put in a better situation. But if situation incorporates ability, okay, being sarcastic, I'm just making sure I'm not misspeaking here and that we're clear on what I'm saying, because like Austin said, you can mix up the names very easily. I just want to make sure that I'm not,
For my purposes, I was glad when Malik got traded, so I didn't have to continue to slip up on Levis and Willis.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I cannot get sarcastic tone through the chat.
Yeah. You can't.
So sometimes I just have to clarify. I got to make sure that nobody's taking my points out of context, that we're understanding what I'm saying here.
All right, let's jump into it. BetMGM. We've got our picks. I have two. I will start with one of mine. We'll do a little Sam bet sandwich here. So my first one.
Well, don't take mine. If you take mine, I'm going to be upset.
Okay, fine. Then you go first. Because since I have two, you can go first.
Because I think I might have one of yours on my radar.
We'll find out.
Because you said you were looking at quarterbacks.
Both of them have to do with the quarterbacks, yes.
I'm looking at quarterbacks as well.
Okay.
Malik Willis, under 149.5 passing yards.
Played it so fast this morning. Yes, that's one of mine.
His career high is 122. The Titans are the number one defense in yards allowed in the NFL. The secondary is good.
Number one pass defense.
Number one pass defense in the NFL. Their number one defense total in just yards allowed. They've gotten beat by the run a couple of times, but like Aaron Rodgers was horrible against the Titans, at least statistically. I'm curious what his numbers ended up looking like in that game. If I can scroll back and find his final stat line. Aaron Rodgers threw for 176, and clearly he goes against New England, puts up 281, looks like really good and has a strong effort. So if Aaron Rodgers is at 176, Malik Willis played about as well as you probably could get him to play, and he throws for 122 against a worse Colts defense with a bad Colts secondary. He's not going over that number against the Titans. I'm playing that under for sure.
Yeah, 149.5 is where it's at. I also played it. The other reason why I like it is because I don't think this is because, you're thinking, but what if the Titans get up and the Packers have to throw? Because he only threw 14 attempts last week. And my other reason why I love the bet so much is because I don't think the Titans have the ability to flat out run away on the scoreboard to force that situation.
Well, I think the Packers controlling time of possession is really going to slow this game down.
Totally.
And yeah,
and the Titans, the same thing. The Titans have done a good job with time of possession when they're not turning the ball over. And so I think it's going to be a very quick game. I think possessions are going to be limited. The over-under is currently 38. That's a little too low for me to play. I mean,
I'm not touching the over-under.
If it gets to like 42, I might, but to play the under, but 38 is too low for me to go one way or the other. But I agree. The under Malik Willis passing yards at 149.5 should be Titans fans a part of your weekend plans here. My other one that is quarterback related, Will Levis is going to keep running the football. Will Levis over 12.5 rushing yards. That is what else I played this morning. Now, my one fear is what happens if they get into victory formation and Will Levis has to take a knee or two, and does he lose yards to get under? So I say Will Levis is going over 12.5 rushing yards. I bet
you're gonna need one of those big scrambles, hopefully.
Just one. All I need is one. All right, Sam, let's go ahead and get to it. Ain't that good news here to wrap up this show? Let's get it going. Hyundai, WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go. Make them a part of your new car buying process. So go see them in Lebanon, WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Good news, good news, good news. If you got in the chat, share it for us. My good news, Sam, I've waited a long time. I am going to be shaking at kickoff. Tennessee at Oklahoma. It is a massive, massive game. If Tennessee can win this game, then I truly believe the Vols are college football playoff and maybe national championship contenders, but there's a lot of nerves around this one because Josh Heupel's weak spot is winning games on the road at night. And so that is my good news, is gearing up all Saturday long. We have all the college football anxiety for kickoff, Vols at Norman against Oklahoma Saturday night. That's my good news.
I might have to sneeze real quick.
Yeah, it's fine. You can do that. If you want to sneeze.
Okay. I'm surprised by that.
You're surprised by what?
This doesn't feel like a big game for Tennessee to me.
What? Why?
Oklahoma sucks.
Yeah, but
Oklahoma's not good.
I agree.
They should beat Oklahoma by 2 scores.
I mean, yeah, I bet
Maybe
minus 7.5 earlier in the week, but still, I'd
be worried about Florida because it's the Florida rivalry. I'd be worried about Alabama. I'd be worried about the Georgia game. I would be worried about how Tennessee loses in those games. Oklahoma to me feels like punching down a little bit. I don't know. I'm just surprised. You say if they win this game, Tennessee feels like national title contenders to you, or college football playoff contenders, whatever. I don't think you learn anything about Tennessee from beating an Oklahoma team that has almost lost to some very bad football teams.
No, look, Oklahoma has a good defense. Their offense has struggled. There's no doubt about that. But this is on the road, the first road game of the year, the first true road game that Nico has played, because he's playing a bowl game, a neutral site game in Charlotte, and 2 home games against nobodies. Right. So and Matthews adds, it's a story behind it too. Josh Heupel got fired by Bob Stoops at his alma mater, where he won a national championship and was a runner-up at the Heisman Trophy in 2000. He got fired by his coach and thrown under the bus for being the scapegoat for his worst year at Oklahoma 10 years ago. And now he gets to return back to Norman. They're doing the whole trying to butter him up. They're honoring the 2000 national title game team before the game with all of his former teammates there while Heupel's coaching. It's the first time he's been in that stadium since he got fired. He's never been on that sideline, never been in that locker room before, he said. There's a lot of that stuff going on. There's a lot of things around the game that could have Tennessee start slow, and then that allows Oklahoma to stay in it.
I get the storyline being somewhat of a big deal. I just
if this game was in Nashville, Tennessee wins by 20 plus.
Yeah, it's for me though, like from a football perspective, like I said, I don't think you learn anything about Tennessee if they win this game.
Okay. I do. I think it's just you continue to add really good. I mean, it's if they put up 40 plus or 50 again, then I think you do.
I mean, if you put up 40 or 50 against this defense, I think, yeah, you have to be feeling really good about that. But
all right, what's your good news?
Oh man, I don't know. Like,
you don't know?
Maybe college football. So I've got Illinois tonight, going against Nebraska. I've got Northern Illinois back on your TV screen. Northern Illinois up to number 23 now. They're playing.
There you go. They moved up on their bye week. How about that? How about this for your good news? Wednesday night was great.
Yeah, we had a great party.
The event, the party was awesome, right?
We had a great party. I was nervous about the party. Just wanted it to go well. Wanted it to like people to have a good time, kind of go off without a hitch. The Electric Jane over in the Gulch crushed it. People said food was great. People seemed to have a very good time. I had a lot of fun, and so yeah, that's good news for sure. That it was definitely a very, very fun, cool night, and it had been something that we were working on for a while, trying to make sure that we made it as cool as possible. And I definitely think people over there celebrating and watching with us were having a good time.
It was a heck of a time. I thought you had a great turnout. I think everybody had fun. The food was awesome, very good. So over 100 people there, and everybody had a hell of a time. Nobody had a bad night, and so I thought overall big time win. So I'll read some good news from you guys before we bounce here to start the weekend. Jeff, good news: Michigan loses by 20 tomorrow to USC. Zach says good news. New can lights have been installed. All right, there you go. Lighting at your house is nice. Bork, good news. The glue guy wasn't the first one out. There you go. Alex says good news. Memphis football has a chance to break in the top 25. There's more good news from Sam's episode 1. Andrew, good news. Going to visit the youngest daughter at West Virginia and watch some Division I football. That's pretty fun. Matthew, good news. Titans are at home this week. Demetrius, good news. Supporting family-owned business this weekend. That's a shout out. Trey, good news. Smoky Mountains with his girlfriend tonight. So I hope you guys have a great weekend right there, Trey, out in the mountains. That'll do it for us for the week. Buck will be live with 615 Sessions later this afternoon to wrap up our big week. But we do have tons of content over the weekend. Injury report for the Titans is coming out soon this afternoon. Vols game day shows with Charlie Burris and Jonathan Crompton, halftime and postgame shows for the Oklahoma game on Saturday. And then Easton Freeze and I will have Titans pregame, halftime, and postgame show on Sunday. It should not be dramatic at all. So we will see you guys over the weekend. Hope you have a great start to your weekend now. Appreciate it as always. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. We'll talk to you guys then.